Last year about this time, one of the elderly members of our church, Jim Smith, had knee surgery, and I went to the hospital to visit him. I had offered to bring him some lunch, but he had to stick to what they were serving in the hospital, so I brought a sandwich, and he ate his lunch, and we ate our lunch together and talked. Now, I went to the hospital with my Bible and ready to encourage Jim. I prayed while I was sitting in my car, kind of like I am now, that I would be able to bring cheer to him because he had to be in the hospital for a few days and he still had a good amount of recovering left to do. And, I'm the pastor, so that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Yet right from the moment I got in there, Jim started asking me about the church, my family, how the youth group was doing, and all sorts of other things. I could barely get a question in. And then I observed as he was encouraging the nurse, asking her about her children by name. And as I left, I was so uplifted. I was so much in a better mood and feeling pretty good about life and the church in general. And then it dawned on me as I was driving home, I thought, did I even encourage Jim at all? Now, I think Jim would probably say that I did. But you see, I went to the hospital thinking I had more to offer Jim than he had to offer me. And boy, was I wrong. Now we're in Genesis 47, and Joseph is introducing his family to Pharaoh. He begins with his brothers, and they come before Pharaoh in the typical submissive fashion, using the third-party language to refer to themselves, your servants, waiting for him to speak to them first. And then, of course, they asked permission to live in Egypt. And Pharaoh was probably used to that. I mean, everyone who came to him had to wait for him to speak first. That was the custom at the time. They had to refer to themselves in the third person because that showed respect for his godlike status. And they, of course, were all looking for for favors from Pharaoh, not the other way around, since no one could possibly have anything to offer the most powerful man in the world, right? Well, enter Israel. Look at verse 7. Then Joseph brought Jacob his father and stood him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, how many are the days of the years of your life? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourning are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not attained to the days of the years of the lives of my fathers in the days of their sojourning. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from the presence of Pharaoh. Now, do you see the difference between the way Israel and everyone else acts in front of Pharaoh? Go back and read all of chapter 47 for yourself, and you'll notice it. Israel comes before Pharaoh, and first of all, he doesn't bow. He stands. And did you notice that he doesn't wait for Pharaoh to speak? He immediately blesses Pharaoh. And he also refers to himself in the first person. Now, Israel's not being disrespectful here, but he is showing Pharaoh that he's not at all impressed by Pharaoh's wealth or power or his godlike status. I mean, he speaks to Pharaoh and blesses Pharaoh as if he were an equal, or indeed Pharaoh's superior. I mean, the author of Hebrews tells us in chapter 7, verse 7, that, quote, it is beyond dispute that the inferior is blessed by the superior. And Israel blesses Pharaoh. That would have been the way they thought about it in Egypt, and this would have been incredibly bold for Israel to do. Now, most people came to Pharaoh looking for a favor from him, looking for a blessing from him. That's what he was used to. What could an old shepherd at all have to offer him? Well, Israel knows that he has a lot to offer Pharaoh. We don't know what the content of the blessing was, although it was most likely done in the name of God Almighty, Yahweh, or the God of the Bible, like all the blessings of the Hebrews in the Old Testament. You see, even though he's not a powerful king, Israel knows that he has more to offer Pharaoh than Pharaoh has to offer him, because he serves the one true God. Just like Jim had more to offer me than I had to offer him. And amazingly, Pharaoh actually accepts it. And even asks, that's probably why he asks Israel how old he is, but that even there gives Israel the opportunity basically to tell Pharaoh that God had blessed his forefathers much greater with age than he even blessed him. Now, what's the point of all this? Well, in all this, Israel is showing Pharaoh that he is not impressed with his power or his wealth. He's testifying before Pharaoh that he stands confidently under the promises of God, the true God, and he doesn't need anything from Pharaoh at all. And as the world grows, more and more people hang on to the things of this world that they have. As people grow old, that's what the pharaohs did. That's why the pharaohs buried themselves with an enormous amount of wealth. Israel shows Pharaoh the exact opposite. As he grows old, he is rejecting the things of this world and shows Pharaoh that he has much more to offer him than Pharaoh could ever offer Israel. What a testimony to the greatness of God in Israel's actions and stance before Pharaoh. You see, youth, as a Christian, as a child of God, you have far more to offer the most powerful person in this world than they have to offer you. If you were to go before the president right now, you'd have more to offer him by praying for him and sharing the gospel with him than he would to offer you with all the favors he could maybe give you in this world. Who cares what the president of the United States or a king of any nation can give you when you are a child of the king of the universe and you can call him dad? Don't let this world trick you into thinking that they have something great to offer you. Like I thought I had something great to offer Jim. Every advertiser in the world wants you to think that they have something to offer you that you need, but they don't. The child of God knows that all that he needs is found in the promises of God, just as all Israel needed was found there as well. When we know that and we live like that, we show the world just how great our God is. You guys think about that, and I'll see you tomorrow.